welcome to my show. I know
you're welcome to my show. You're welcome to my show. Hi, Lungile Matyila.
Hi, how's it?
It's been a while. It's been a while.
It's been forever, man. It's been forever, and thank you for having me. By the way,
it's always a pleasure. I kid you not. We do miss you in the photography space. You know, when you announce your intention of following your spiritual journey, I, for one person, I'm sure you know, I'm always having all kinds of photography difficulty, and each time when I call you, all you just ask me is, "G, can you drive to me?" And so when you announce your spiritual calling, I need to be honest, I was quite jealous to say, so now who am I going to run to, to assist me with all this technicality in my photography career? So once again, I want to say thank you. Thank you for all that the knowledge that you've impacted in me. It has paid off. I'm still in the process of learning, and I know once a soldier, always a soldier. I will still call you to, if I need one or two assistant here. But, what I want to engage you on today is, your spiritual journey. How has it been for you?
Yeah, that's a hard one. Eh? Okay. It has its own ups and downs, right? I'll say photography, number one, was actually way better. As much as I had to learn a lot of I had to learn the struggling. When you came from corporate sector, then all of a sudden you do business, right? So it wasn't easy, right, doing a photography because of the business side of things. Sometimes you get gigs, sometimes you don't get gigs. So it was one of the hardest things, right? And then now moving into spirituality, which then coming with all this experience of going through hardships. So with spirituality, basically everything derives from pain, or it derives from hardships, right? So it takes the hardship for one to actually ascend higher. You understand? So now, for the last past, when did I resign? When did I say I'm quitting photography? This was 2018.
Yes.
Yeah, so because actually I got prophecy to say 2018 was going to be my last year doing photography, right? So I remember one time going with Unico. We were shooting for what do you call this? We were shooting some alcohol brand. We were shooting, it was a tour. We were shooting for, what's this alcohol, man? The green bottle.
It's a lot of them.
Okay.
Quite a lot.
Yeah, so as we were shooting, right? So one thing that happened, so as we were busy on tour, right? And then remember, you remember those cups, those photography cups that looks like a lens, right? So I had that, right? Okay. So as we were busy shooting, so we were getting free alcohol on tour, right? And food and everything like that. So we had like celebrities like Abu Moshe on tour, right? So then what happened was, as we were busy shooting, and then I kept on pouring alcohol on that cup, right?
Wow.
So the more I was drinking, right? Then what happened, because I'm a shy person, right? So it took me time to work on that, right? So as I was busy shooting, I kept on drinking, right? yeah, that's what happened. So then, what then happened? It's like my guides came through, right? Because then the more I drank, right? The more I drank, it's like the spirit just took over. And then what happened? I started giving prophecy to people that were sitting in the VIP section, right? And then you started having people, others crying, and they were like, where's this guy coming from? Like giving prophecy about our lives.
On set to giving prophecy.
Yeah. So then you can imagine, we're still on that tour. And then after that, then what happened, then I was told like the tour had to, me and Nico, we had to end up calling it quits, right? So we couldn't even finish or get to the Dome, because Black Coffee was actually performing at the Dome. That was basically the last Lentosa, the last part of the tour. So we couldn't go there. I think after that incident, even though we never spoke about it.
Wow.
So yeah, and then soon after, then 2019, I remember then with Unico, he suggested that we go to Mozambique, right? I was like, but because I was going through so much depression, going through so much stress, and then he was like, hey, bruh, let's go to Mozambique. I mean, he saved me countless times, right? So we went to Mozambique, and I remember, I mean, just going to Mozambique, that place feels like home for me, right? I think because, we'll talk about it. But yeah, Mozambique to me is basically home, right? So then coming back, I came back rejuvenated, right? It's like I saw things that were just out of this world, spiritually, that is, right? And then coming back, it's like doors started opening. I mean, I remember having a conversation with Uniko as we were going to Mozambique. He was like, but you know what, I'm tired of carrying you, right? Because every time I'll go through struggles, he will like come and sacrifice his own finances, right, and time and whatnot. He will come and be like, Lungi, hey, you can't be just living like this, man. It's like you're living in a hole, right? So it would make more sense if we can just go. Let's just go. Let's go on a trip. Let's go. We'll just travel with Nico, and he kind of saved my life even back then, right? Then, as time then progressed, so as we were going to Moz, and then he was like, dude, you need to make a decision. Like now, as we're going to Mozambique, right, this will be the last time I'm going to carry you.
Wow.
Right. So it's either you're gonna focus on your photography, or you're gonna go and look for work, right? Or you're going to make this spiritual gift of yours to work, right? If you're not going to make any of those decisions, just know, out of love, out of care that I have for you, just know I'm going to just pull away. You can just imagine having someone that has been there for you, telling you that, right? And then something in me just said, I think it's God talking through him, right? I need to take steps. I can't keep on living on fear, right? I mean, at that time, I had a lot of things I wanted to share. I had a lot of things, basically, I wanted to write about, right? So when that happened, then it was just something just clicked in my spirit to say, from now on, I'm going to just start writing on my Facebook. I'm going to start, making posts and motivating others, right? Now, just imagine motivating people whilst you are also going through the
Absolutely.
most. You understand? So tapping into a space of spirituality was also something else, because, I mean, we're talking about people like spiritualists, herbalists that have been there in that field for years, right? And you come as this young boy, right? And you saying you want to share things. What do you know? You know nothing. You're just a small boy, right? So it was one of those challenges. And I remember then, there was a lady that came to me for consultation when I was still starting out, and then immediately when she saw me, because she saw tattoos, right? And then she was like, umfundiswa ma-tattoos.
I'm a tattoo.
Yeah. So, I never laughed so hard. I was like, you telling me straight on my face. She was like, mm-hmm. And guess what? As soon as you help me, because someone referred me to you, right? So the person that referred me said, definitely you're going to help me, right? And then she was like, as soon as you help me, Mkhulu, just know I'm not going to come back, because I can't be having a healer that has tattoos who's so young.
Okay. Wow.
Right, yeah. And it was basically that. And, I remember just saying, as much as I have tattoos, right, a person will just look at you and judge you, right, based on your appearance. And we forget to appearance is just appearance, right? As long as you look good, you look clean, appearance is just appearance. I remember, when my spirit guide actually started coming through, right, when I saw the light and whatnot. So basically what happened was, already I had a tattoo, right? I think it was 2 months just before that happened. And then boom, one Sunday, sitting on a computer, then all of a sudden I felt the spirit just entering my body, and it was that. Then I could see people's things and people's problems, right? So then I was like, but why would this spirit come to me when I have tattoos, right? I mean, I'm not a perfect person. I'm the most messed up person in this world, right? I've always said that. But why would it come to me? Why would it show me things that are in secret? Why would it give me revelations from even part of the Bible? Revelations a lot, right? So it was something that I would always question. I would always question that, because knowing who am I? I'm just a nobody, right? So yeah, man. So when that then happened, then I was like, okay, with my tattoo, which means then they accept my tattoo, right? The spirit accepts my tattoo. So then I remember just hearing words saying, go back to the Bible, right? Under 10 commandments, it says, thou shalt not judge, right? So that kept on coming, Then I was like, oh, okay, so basically the Spirit came to me to also teach me what I shouldn't judge others. As much as I have this whatever certain appearance, why then should I judge other people, right? And of which, from that time, it was one of those things to say, let me also, learn not to judge other people. So it has been that.
Interesting. Look, I listening to you, and also listening to all the challenges that you've narrated in your spiritual journey. My next question to you is: I know in every decision that we make, you're a business owner, you are a spiritualist, you are any kinds of business that you engage on, there's always challenges and there's always the good side. What I want to ask you now is, what are some of the challenges, from migrating from photography that you were doing excellently, and then, migrating to your calling, which is healing people. And I know, people always think that the doctors don't get sick. Everybody goes to the doctor to get medication, to get healed, without knowing that even the doctor themselves, once in a while they get sick. So my question is, what are some of the challenges that you face that most of the people that come to you for counseling don't even know that you go through?
I've went through a lot,
A lot?
A lot. Even before spirituality, right? Even from a point of being a photographer back then, right? As much as I was a mentor to other people and whatnot,
including me.
Yes, I was.
Including me. This guy shaped my photography career till today. He doesn't like me saying it, but I will say it until I can't say it again.
Gee, man, come on. So you'd find even back then, right, whereby I would do these tours. Remember, I used to do tours, right? And you'd find, as much as I was that teacher, so to say, right, at times I would go without food.
Wow.
Right. And you'd find, maybe you would call, right, and say, hey, Lungi, maybe I need help. I have this client, what, right? And I would never turn you away, right, and feel good, but Gio has a client and I don't have a client right now, right, and I need this money. Instead, I'll give you the best advice that I can, because I always believe if the light is not shining on me at that particular time, right, it's not about me. It's basically God saying, I'm teaching you a lesson. You have to go through a certain lesson, right? So it has always been a matter of whether I face challenges, right, as a leader, because when you are a leader, you will always face challenges that normal people are not going to face, right? So as a leader, you have to encounter things before others encounter them.
Absolutely.
You understand? So that was one of the things that I've learned before, and even now, on my spiritual journey, you find when certain doors have to open, I have to go through the most. I become that sacrifice, right? So by being a sacrifice, it's like the universe, or whether you're going to say my ancestors, God, it doesn't matter what a person believes in, right? I have to become a sacrifice so that others don't go through almost the same problems that I'm faced with. So I remember even my late spiritual father, may his soul rest in peace in eternal internal peace, right? He used to say, don't look at what I do, but listen to what I say.
Wow.
Right? Because often people would look at what does Lungile do, right? And me having the Lungile side, right? I have the Lungile side who's still a child, who still wants to explore life and do things and make mistakes, right? And then you find the spirit also that channels through Lungile, right? So that's why maybe you'll find people then calling us like Mkhulu or Gogo, right? Acknowledging the spirit that we go with, right? So when then I'm in my shrine or place of work, right, I have to become the spirit that comes. It's like a superhero wearing their cape, right, during your work time, right? And then as soon as you leave, you go back to being Lungile, who has flaws, who makes mistakes, who goes through everything that life has to go through. But more than anything, we can't be teachers if we do not make mistakes. You understand? Because you can only learn from your mistakes so that you can share with others to say, don't go there. You understand? Because you would have seen the dangers that come with it. So, that's basically one of the challenges that I've been actually blessed with. I won't even say I've been cursed with, but blessed with, because it has given me so much wisdom. You understand? Because if it wasn't for the mistakes, if it wasn't for the mishaps, the struggles, I wouldn't be sitting with you even right now. I wouldn't be having also people looking up to me to say, hey, if we listen to this guy, there's something that maybe we might actually learn. You understand? So it takes problems. I remember also, I mean, there's a lot of things that have happened. Sometimes I would actually go to my shrine, to my consultation room, right? I remember one time I was just sitting there in the morning, and there was a queue of people outside, right, waiting for me. I greeted everyone, someone, right, with the confidence and whatnot. Fine. Then I walk into my room. Then what happened? Just before I could pray, tears started rolling down. Wow. Like tears started rolling down, right? I'm sure this was a while back, like 3 years back. Tears started rolling down. Now, it was one of those things to say, as much as in a way, maybe I'll say maybe I'm blessed. There's people coming through, right, to seek help or advice from me, right, or clarity and whatnot. And here I am feeling alone in this world. You understand? The only place or people that I can look up to or listen to is actually the spirits that are unseen. It's the voice that is unseen, right? So sometimes that will take its toll on you as a person, because the human element also says you want other people to be able to talk to, on a daily basis. Then having to just adjust to speaking to spirits almost all the time, it's one of the hardest things.
Wow, interesting. Yeah. Look, listening to all the challenges that I actually thought you don't have challenges until now that, you've really talked about it. And look, my next question will then be, my next question will then be, as a service provider also, we've been to different type of projects where you get there, it comes with, apart from you being paid for, that gig, particular gig, it comes with other kinds of perks that we celebrate. It could be food, it could be a handbag, it could be gift. What are the good parts, of being a spirituality? Because I know there's a lot of people who come to you, people who are even in high places, who are even financially privileged than you as a healer. What are some of the things, the moment? And I want you to tell us, what are some of the, the good part of it? Because for the sake of people watching, I know, serving people, there's nothing glamorous about it, but there's a reward for it. Now, people are coming to you not knowing that you have a problem. People are thinking they want to offload their problem on you. So my question is, what are some of the other times, what are some of the perks, the good perks that come with this, with you being a spiritual healer, what are some of the other things that, that you're not even expecting, and somebody just blesses you or surprises you with something that you least expect?
Let me just be honest with you, Gio. I've gotten gifts, right? If you want to talk about gifts, I've gotten gifts from watches to sneakers to, right, money and all those things, right? But one of the best things I've always received is someone coming in and saying, Lungi, on the job that we were praying for, I managed to get that job.
Wow.
Seeing someone saying, maybe they were in hospital and eventually they were able to come out, right? Carrying a family through, maybe after they lost a loved one, and they come back and say, yo, you helped us to heal from that. I think for me, that is the most important thing I've ever received in life, to hear someone else saying they were healed because of me, you understand? So spiritually, if we were to also take that, right, and there's something I'm going to explain. So people are born with stars on their head, right? People are born with stars. So one of the things that happen is, if maybe, let's say, they would say, respect an elder, right? And if an elder says to you, God bless you, my child, right? Something is going to happen in your life, like blessings will come, right? But if an elder says to you, may you be cursed, and you find that curse happening in your life, right?
Wow.
So one thing that happens is when you bless someone, or maybe, let's say, for instance, you give let's say maybe a nyaupe or one of those guys that are at the robots asking for something, and then they say to you, may God bless you, right? Basically, that person is giving you a star, right? Okay. That person is giving you a star to say, may God bless you, right? So when you have that, it's one of the things that also people who are doing witchcraft, they will try and steal. So whether demons or whatnot, they try and steal the stars from you, right? So one thing that then we have to do almost on a daily basis, when someone would say, may God bless you, like, you try and help where you can, right? We're not saying we're perfect, we will always have our own issues. But the more you have people saying, may God bless you, may God bless you, what then happens? The universe starts rewarding you because of the number of people that are saying to you, may God bless you. Yes, so that is why then it is, for me, very much important whenever I'd have people coming and saying, yo, thank you, Lungi, I managed to get that job. Thank you, Lungi. Now I got that marriage, right? I bought that car, I bought that house, right? Because, because I know, which is spiritually, it basically, with all those positive messages and so forth, I'll be given maybe like a new regalia, right, like Ichazi Elisha, right, to also signify my spiritual growth, because that's how we get spiritual growth, basically. The more we do good and serve the universe, the more the universe rewards us.
Wow, interesting. Yes. Look, I'm going to take you a little bit away. I see you're getting into your spiritual zone. I'm just going to take you a little bit away from that.
Yeah.
And just ask you something, that is very, very applicable to you, because that is actually where I met you from. My next question to you is, will you go back to photography if given, you've achieved all your spiritual goals, you've healed as much people? Will you consider picking up a camera again, shooting professionally, or that chapter has come and gone? But, tell me, will you ever shoot actively again?
Actively, I don't think I'll shoot actively. And also, just going back, right? Remember my portfolio back then, as much as I had a corporate, I had events, I had whatnot, right? Also, my portfolio was based on models, right? And talking about models, right? I once had a client coming to me, or rather a patient. Yes, I had a patient coming to me, and then she was like, hey, what kind of Mkhulu are you having pictures of naked women on your profile on Facebook?
Wow. Wow.
So what then used to happen was, even when I left photography, right, when I was embarking on my spiritual journey, I was like, I'm not going to remove those pictures, right, or some of those pictures, because this is who I am or who I was, right? This basically created the person that I am today, right? So I'm not going to just remove them because I want to portray this perfect image of myself. I was like, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep them so that people can judge me, right? Because the more, in also on the universe, there's a law of controversy, right? So the more people talk about you, whether they talk about you in the bad way or in the good way, right? What then happens, they raise your frequency. That is why if you look at whether it's celebrities and whatnot, right? They will do all kinds of crazy things, right? And when they do that, what happens? The media will focus on them. Right, everyone start talking about them. Everyone. Then they start getting business. Then they start getting all kinds of things. So controversy, the law of controversy, actually does that. So when you balance darkness and light, basically, it brings to the law of controversy. Right. So it also helps to market whatever product that you are doing. So those that are in the know-how, they know how to basically use that law to their own advantage. So you would have people who just create havoc, right? Because they know the more they create havoc, the more people are going to talk about them. The more people talk about them, and then the more people will give them business.
Wow.
Basically.
Interesting. Yes. Look, for the sake of this show, I hope that the law of controversy better finds me. I want people, please talk about me, good, bad, and ugly, because I've just realized now the importance of, the law of controversy that you just spoke about now, that it actually elevates such people for the better. Again, I'm going to go back to your spiritual space. Because I see a lot of passion. I see this is, a calling for you. I've listened to you. I've watched a lot of, your show. And my next question is, people water and dream as something that people don't have too much understanding about. I, for one, I dream, uncontrollably. Sometimes I can't even interpret the dream. Water for me is I drink it, I bath with it, I see, I go to the beach. But, I've heard so many times that those two things have a lot of spiritual power.
Yeah.
And I want us to talk about each one of them, starting with water. What is the significance of water in the spiritual realm?
Okay, thank you. Before I actually answer that one, I think on the previous question I didn't answer one question, because the question was, will I ever go back to photography?
Yes.
So basically, now that I'm doing, I'm focusing on the show, right? So which is one of the things now in terms of doing production. Basically, that's what I'm focusing on. So yes, I am now going. We have gone back.
We happy to hear that.
Doing production, and in terms of stills, obviously they're going to be part of it. Okay. So nothing goes to waste spiritually. Whatever you learn, right? Or whoever I was, basically the universe decided to say, for now, take a break, and then when the time is right, then you can be able to do it at a larger space, right? So now I think I have even much better content, if you had to ask, considering now I'm doing spirituality, and also as I'll then be doing a whole production set and whatnot. Yes, so I think then I've answered in that space. Okay, thank you. And then now talking about elements of the universe, right? Because you're asking about water, which is part of the elements of the universe. I mean, if we're going to talk about water, we cannot then talk about air, fire, earth, right? Because all of them, they sum up the elements of the universe, which basically what makes us as humans to be, right? Think about it. almost every single day we have to eat food, right? Which, if you are to think about food, food comes from earth, right? So earth is actually one of the elements that makes us who we are, right? Because we have to constantly eat all the time, and then whatever that we consume needs to go back to earth again, right? And then and then with earth, that's where also we find plants, right? So we find plants that can heal us, and we also find plants that can cause damage, right? Because with spirituality, everything has to balance. Everything gives us darkness and it also gives us light, right? So we find plants. That's where you find mostly your herbalist. Basically, they come from using plants, right? And then people who also have the gift of divinity, who use bones to consult and whatnot, they use plants, or which is the earth element. And then we find water. So water basically is actually like it's like your reset button, right? Everything starts with water. That's why even planet Earth basically consists like 80% of water, right? So as much as we drink water on a daily basis, and just to talk about the water that we drink, it's not spiritually safe, right? Apart from then, people who stay mostly in the rural areas, right? As much as we were told that people who stay in the rural areas, they have water that is unclean, impure, right? Because we are being sold the idea of water purification, to say if you are staying inland, like where we stay, right, the water is pure. But truth is, the water, it's not pure, the water that we drink from our taps. Not unless if then we to drink water from boreholes, right? That way then we'll find pure water, because the water that we drink constantly all the time, it has all these chlorines. They've purified, they've put all these chemicals. Yeah, it's processed, which then affects even our third eye. It affects what we see, right? So the water that we drink on a daily basis actually affects us more than it actually helps us to be pure.
Wow.
That's why nature, if you think about it, nature has streams that are pure, right? You have like Drakensberg, right? It has pure water. It has still water, which is pure, right? So one of the things also with that water, or whatever river water that we get, or maybe borehole water, is that we need to boil it almost all the time before we can drink it. That way then we'll know what we have like pure water, right? But just going back in terms of then why we also do river cleansings, why we use water, right? I'm going to just go back just a bit on whether the Bible, right, where we find Yeshua, right, where he was baptized by John the Baptist, right. So after he was baptized, or as he was getting baptized, then he comes and he says, I'm born again, right? Which is actually the purification process of the water in the river, not from a tap, not from a swimming pool, but the purification process had to take place in a river. So one of the reasons why it had to take place in the river is simply because of river water also carries its own spirits, right? So we say water has a memory. It remembers, right? Water remembers. The same way we say la manzi ake amakhona ayophinda ame ichibi lelo, which means where water once stood, once upon a time, it will always remember and it will always go back, right? So that's why then you'll also find us dreaming of water, because water will remind us, we are water spirit babies.
Wow.
You understand? So we'll always have water connection. So when you start dreaming of water, basically the universe or the water is saying, it's time to go and cleanse. You understand? So that's where the water purification comes in, because water is the core element of us as humans, and also the earth itself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then
fire.
Dream, which will then be what those two questions were what I did ask. And thank you for elaborating more, about what water using John the Baptist baptizing Jesus Christ. Yeshua.
Yes.
Using Yeshua, the story about the baptism using water and the purification of water. My next question, which I did pose to you again, is dream. Like I said again, I do dream. Sometimes I dream I'm playing soccer. Sometimes I dream that, some of my dreams I cannot even interpret it. I see older people, dreams for me, it's random. And I know dreams are very, very important.
Yes.
So take me to how can one, or what should one look out for when they dream? Is it something to just, overlook, or is it something that one can harness, which can actually help somebody's spiritual growth?
Okay. So if we look at dreams, right, dreams are like a key to the universe. Right. So as much as, for instance, we will be told about heaven and whatever space we've never been to, or whatever, according to some beliefs, right? Truth is, dreams are a puzzle, or in fact, I shouldn't say it's a puzzle, but it's actually a code that gives us light to who we are.
Wow.
Right. So then we have levels in terms of dreaming. We have levels, we have categories, right? You'd find a child will dream in a certain way, right? Or let's say maybe we take adults. An adult who is not spiritually gifted, you'd find that they have certain type of dreams, maybe your daily dreams or just superficial things, right? And then you find people who are spiritually gifted, whereby they will have dreams that will basically align them to their spiritual direction, right? So we also find dreams whereby they are, in a way, they are coded, right? So we'll often say umuntu onesithunywa, someone who has a spiritual guide that belongs to the universe. They normally have dreams that are coded, right? Whereby they will need someone who is on a higher spiritual realm to interpret those dreams, right? Because they come as a code. So when those dreams come, they will come in bits and pieces, making a puzzle. So you'll find, for instance, a person will have like 1,000 dreams in one night, right? Or 100 dreams in one night. Snippets. So basically what happens during that time is the universe downloading information which is a prophecy for that person's journey. So you'd find with those snippets of dreams, 100 dreams, they're going to show you what's going to happen in the next coming 6 months. Right. So then you find a person would say they're having a lot of deja vu moments. It's like, I've seen this before. This feels as if we've sat here before. Basically, the universe downloaded snippets which is prophecy of what is to come. That's why then when things happen, events, when they start happening, it will be like, I've seen this, it's a deja vu. But truly what has happened was that the universe had already installed that whatever book or prophecy for you for the next coming, and then it will constantly happen like that. And then we find we find dreams, right, also, whereby maybe, let's say, they will tap into the fifth dimension, because there's different dimensions in terms of dreaming, right? You might have maybe the first dimension whereby you just dream of like basic things, right? You just dream of basic things, and you always ask, why am I dreaming of celebrities? Why am I dreaming? It's just basic things, right? And then there's another dimension whereby then you're going to start dreaming of things to happen, right? Which is another, maybe we'll say it's a first or second level of spirituality, right? To start dreaming of events that are about to happen almost on a daily basis. And then thirdly, maybe you start dreaming of events happening in the world, right? So there are people who are given that talent, right? Or I'll say a gift, not talent, but a gift, whereby they can dream of events to happen. We still find that even with Nicodemus, right? Back in the days, right? who revealed a lot of things that were to happen. Even today, some of those prophecies are still coming to light, right? So that person was given that gift, right? So yes. So in terms of dreams, it has stages. So for one to unpack them, it will take, your own dreams can take forever to just unpack them, right? But there's always going to be those dreams that are super important.
Wow, interesting. Look, I know I've just put you back in your element. I know you can, everything that is spiritually related, I know you can go on and on and on, and you can unpack it. For those who want to, get in touch with you, do one-on-one sessions, or who also want to email you and, tell you some of the either spiritual challenges that they're going through, or some of, the dreams that they're going through, how do they get hold of you?
Okay, they can always WhatsApp me, but they can WhatsApp me on 072-754-3045. And also I'm planning to have like a standard number where they can actually reach me, right? Because the biggest issue was that I have a lot of people calling. I have a lot of people sending dreams, voice notes, like 30-minute voice notes, right, on a daily basis. So eventually it gets overwhelming, right? Because every time when I consult, right, I can't be attending to phone calls. And some people will be like, but why don't you get someone who can actually help you to attend to those messages, right? But now the issue is, you find when people send through their problems, they send maybe a way, let's say maybe they're seeking clarity and whatnot, right? Obviously, even if I were to assign someone to answer that phone, right, it will still have to come back to me. Absolutely. Because they can't answer. True. You understand? So it ends up being like a futile exercise. So that's why it has been a bit of a challenge for me to always have someone who would actually do that. I've tried before, but you find that it doesn't really work that much.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I know even going forward, I always say, if it has to happen that people find me, right, or whoever that needs to find me, God will make it work, right? Absolutely. It will through God's time, it's going to happen.